The Ixora Prime Academy floated majestically above the gas giant Zithara 4, an iridescent jewel in the galaxy's most prestigious star system. Its spires pierced the thin atmosphere, glowing faintly with the energy of ancient tech. The Academy wasn't just a school, it was a repository of intergalactic wisdom, attracting the brightest minds from across the cosmos. Viera adjusted her satchel as she climbed the crystalline staircase to the central hall. Her webbed fingers traced the intricate carvings on the railing, ancient depictions of extinct civilizations. As an amphibious Utheran, Viera felt a natural connection to water, and the Academy's flowing architecture reminded her of home. Her thoughts were interrupted by a familiar voice. "Late again, Viera?" She turned to see Kraxon, a towering insectoid Xerith with segmented limbs and an exoskeleton that shimmered in the low light. His voice was as sharp as his logic. "I'm not late," Viera replied, her tone defensive. "I'm reflecting." "Reflection won't get us good marks on the project," Kraxon said, his mandibles clicking. Behind them, Rilth arrived with his usual swagger, his emerald scales catching the sunlight. The reptilian Finar always had a smirk ready. "Relax, Krax," Rilth said. "It's not like the galaxy's history is going anywhere." "Perhaps not," came a softer voice. Talla, a pale humanoid Lavarian, approached with her characteristic grace. Her glowing eyes scanned the group as though she could see into their very thoughts, which to an extent she could. "But our assignment will determine our placement in the symposium." Their instructor, Professor Idrak, appeared at the head of the hall. A member of the crystalline Theron species, Idrak's translucent form caught the light in a dazzling array of colors. The professor's voice resonated like a chime. "Your final project will be a study of an extinct civilization. Choose carefully, for the lessons of the past shape the future." In the Academy's sprawling digital archives, the group sifted through civilizations long gone, the sprawling empires of the Drathini, the artistic legacies of the Polaris, and countless others. Each offered insights, but felt safe, predictable. It was Viera who stumbled upon the fragment. The holographic interface flickered as she accessed a restricted file marked only as Category Black Extinct Earth. "What's this?" she murmured. Kraxon leaned over, his antennae twitching. "Earth? I've never heard of it." "That's because it's locked," Talla said, sensing the faint pulse of psychic barriers embedded in the file. "Someone doesn't want us to see this." Rilth grinned. "Now I'm interested." Ignoring Kraxon's protests, Viera bypassed the security protocols. The archive opened, revealing a fragmented timeline of Earth's history. At first glance, it was chaos, wars, revolutions, and a rapid technological ascent that seemed out of place for such a primitive species. "They were destructive," Kraxon observed. "No wonder they're extinct." But Viera wasn't convinced. Beneath the surface of destruction, she saw flashes of something else: resilience, creativity, and an unyielding spirit. "There's more to this," she said softly. The group's intrigue led them deeper into Earth's restricted files. They broke into the Chamber of Echoes, a forbidden wing of the Academy housing physical artifacts and holographic recreations of extinct civilizations. The room hummed with latent energy, its walls lined with crystalline orbs holding fragments of lost worlds. Talla's eyes glowed brighter as she scanned the room. "Be careful," she warned. "There's something heavy here." They found the Earth archive tucked away in a dusty corner, its orb marked with warnings in dozens of languages. Rilth picked it up with a grin. "What's the worst that could happen?" The orb activated, projecting a sequence of Earth's history, the rise of early civilizations, from the pyramids of Egypt to the empires of Rome and China. The Industrial Revolution, its rapid progress contrasted with environmental destruction. The 21st century explosion of technology, accompanied by conflict and division. Each scene was chaotic, vibrant, and raw. They were unpredictable, Kraxon said. No consistent pattern. That's dangerous. They were adaptable, Viera countered. "Look at how they overcame challenges." The final projection was a Galactic Council meeting, centuries old. An elder spoke gravely. "Humanity cannot join. Their chaos disrupts order. Their unpredictability is a threat." The projection ended abruptly, leaving the group in stunned silence. Over the next days, the group pieced together Earth's story. They found records of incredible achievements, medical breakthroughs that saved billions across species, art and music that conveyed emotions universal to all sentient beings, acts of selflessness, such as humanity sending aid to other worlds even as their own resources dwindled. Yet these were buried beneath layers of warnings about humanity's volatility. Viera became increasingly vocal. "This isn't fair. They weren't just chaos. They were alive. They cared." Kraxon remained skeptical. "The Council must have had reasons. Stability is paramount." Rilth added, "Or maybe they just didn't like being outshone." Talla stayed quiet, her telepathic senses picking up the unspoken tensions in the group. The group's findings led them to a choice: submit a sanitized version of Earth's history for their project, or delve deeper into the Galactic Symposium archives, risking expulsion or worse. "We can't stop now," Viera argued. "If humanity was misunderstood, doesn't the galaxy deserve to know?" "It's dangerous," Kraxon warned. "We're dealing with restricted knowledge." "That's what makes it worth doing," Rilth said with a smirk. Even Talla nodded, her voice soft but firm. The truth should not be hidden. They voted unanimously to continue, unaware of the secrets and dangers that awaited them. As the group activated their access to the Galactic Symposium archives, a final warning flashed. "By accessing this data, you accept full responsibility for the consequences." Viera hesitated for only a moment before pressing forward. The screen lit up with encrypted files, their titles hinting at a deeper, untold truth about humanity. "Let's find out what they didn't want us to know," Rilth said, his grin fading as the room dimmed with the weight of forbidden knowledge. The Galactic Symposium archives were a labyrinth of encrypted files, their titles shrouded in cryptic phrases. Viera's fingers hovered over the glowing interface, her webbed hand trembling slightly. "This is it," she said softly. "The deeper truth." Kraxon's antennae twitched with unease. "We've gone too far already. There's a reason these files are buried." "Exactly," Rilth shot back. "And that's why we need to see them." As Viera activated the decryption, holographic projections filled the air, displaying fragments of Earth's final days. At first, the images were grim: environmental collapse, political strife, and violent conflicts. "This isn't new," Kraxon muttered. "They destroyed themselves. What's left to uncover?" But then the tone shifted. New files revealed moments of extraordinary humanity. A group of scientists, their faces lined with exhaustion, celebrating the creation of a cure for a galaxy-wide plague. Cargo ships leaving Earth, laden with supplies for alien worlds, even as humanity itself struggled to survive. A Galactic Council debate where humans argued passionately for interspecies cooperation, only to be dismissed as too chaotic. "They weren't just destructive," Viera said, her voice breaking. "They sacrificed everything for others." Among the decrypted files, Talla discovered a recording marked "Council Sealed Eyes Only." The group hesitated, but Talla's glowing eyes burned with determination. "This is where the real story is," she said. The recording flickered to life, revealing an elder of the Galactic Council, a being with shimmering golden skin and a voice heavy with regret. "Humanity was not exiled for their chaos," the elder began. "They were exiled for their mirror. They reminded us of what we could become, both our potential and our flaws." The elder explained how humanity's unpredictability was both their greatest strength and the Council's greatest fear. Unlike other species, humans thrived on contradictions, turning adversity into innovation. "They were not a threat to the galaxy," the elder concluded. "They were a threat to our control." The recording ended, leaving the group in stunned silence. "So," Rilth said finally, They weren't kicked out for being dangerous. They were kicked out for being better? Not better, Talla corrected. Just more alive. The revelations fractured the group. Viera became a vocal advocate for humanity, arguing that the Council's decision was a grave injustice. Kraxon, ever the pragmatist, insisted that the Council's actions must have been justified. Stability is paramount. Chaos threatens order. Rilth, fascinated by the mystery, saw an opportunity for fame. This could make us legends. Imagine presenting this at the symposium. Talla remained the quiet mediator, her telepathic abilities sensing the unspoken doubts and fears within each of them. The tension came to a head during a heated argument in the Chamber of Echoes. "Are we just going to let this stay buried?" Viera demanded, her voice echoing off the crystalline walls. "We're students, not revolutionaries," Kraxon snapped. Rilth smirked. "Speak for yourself." "Enough," Talla interjected, her voice calm but firm. "This isn't about us. It's about the truth." Their next discovery shook them to their cores. A hidden file detailed the Galactic Plague, a catastrophic event that swept through countless civilizations. Humanity, immune due to their chaotic genetic diversity, developed a cure in record time. But the Galactic Council, distrustful of humans, refused to collaborate. Undeterred, humanity distributed the cure unconditionally, depleting their own resources in the process. The final image in the file showed Earth, a planet drained of its vitality, its last resources spent to save others. "They saved the galaxy," Viera whispered, "and we let them die." The group faced a choice: stay silent and submit a sanitized version of humanity's history for their project, preserving their academic futures. Expose the truth at the Galactic Symposium, risking expulsion, or worse, for revealing forbidden knowledge. Kraxon argued for caution. "The Council has kept this hidden for a reason. We could destabilize the galaxy." Rilth grinned. "Or we could make history." Viera's voice was steady. "They deserve to be remembered for who they truly were. Not as monsters, but as heroes." Talla closed her eyes, her telepathic senses brushing against the group's collective resolve. "Then we have to do it. Together." The group worked tirelessly to compile their findings into a presentation. They included holographic recreations of Earth's history, showing both the chaos and the brilliance of humanity. Testimonies from species saved by humanity's cure, unearthed from forgotten archives. The Elders' recording, revealing the Council's true motivations. As the symposium approached, the group faced mounting pressure. Rumors swirled about their project, and Council representatives began monitoring their movements. "This is bigger than us," Viera said one night as they worked late in the Academy's library. "We're not just telling their story, we're rewriting history." The Galactic Symposium was held in the Hall of Echoes, a vast chamber capable of projecting holograms visible to thousands of attendees. Delegates from across the galaxy filled the seats, their voices a low hum of anticipation. As the group prepared to take the stage, Kraxon hesitated. "If this goes wrong, we'll be expelled or imprisoned." "It's worth it," Viera said, her voice unwavering. When their turn came, the group stepped onto the stage, their nerves eclipsed by determination. Holographic projections lit up the chamber, displaying humanity's story in all its complexity, its chaos, its creativity, its sacrifice. The audience watched in stunned silence. Gasps echoed as the Elders' recording played, and murmurs of disbelief spread when the truth about the plague was revealed. As their presentation concluded, the chamber erupted in chaos. Some delegates praised the group's bravery, while others accused them of fabricating evidence. The Council representatives demanded an immediate hearing. "We've started something we can't stop," Viera whispered, as they were escorted out of the chamber. The group's fate, and humanity's legacy, hung in the balance. The group was escorted to a towering chamber within the Academy's restricted wing, a space reserved for disciplinary hearings. The room was cold and vast, its walls lined with holographic panels that displayed shifting scenes of interstellar lore. At its center stood the council panel, a semicircle of high-ranking officials, their forms varying from crystalline to gelatinous to avian. Their presence was intimidating, and the air pulsed with authority. "Step forward," boomed the voice of High Arbiter Tharos, a being of silvery metal whose form seemed to ripple with each word. Viera, Kraxon, Rilth, and Talla exchanged nervous glances before stepping into the center of the chamber. A holographic interface flickered to life, displaying the group's unauthorized presentation at the Galactic Symposium. "You are accused of accessing forbidden archives, presenting unverified historical data, and endangering galactic unity," Tharos declared. Kraxon, ever the logical thinker, stepped forward. "The data is not unverified. Our sources include restricted council archives. If anyone endangered unity, it was those who suppressed the truth." A murmur rippled through the panel. Tharos's metallic form tensed. "The Council's decisions are beyond reproach. Humanity was forbidden for the stability of the galaxy." "They were forbidden because you feared them," Viera said, her voice steady. "You feared their chaos because it challenged your control, but their chaos saved lives, your lives. Without humanity's sacrifice during the Galactic Plague, many of you wouldn't be here." The Council fell silent. Talla, sensing the unspoken conflict within the minds of the panel members, stepped forward. "This isn't about breaking rules," she said. "It's about understanding what we've lost, and why we cannot afford to make the same mistakes." The tension in the room was palpable. Tharos finally spoke. "We will deliberate. Until then, you are confined to the Academy. Any attempt to disseminate this information further will result in severe consequences." As the group was led away, Viera's heart sank. They had spoken the truth, but would it be enough? Confined to their quarters, the group wrestled with frustration and doubt. Kraxon, pacing like a restless predator, voiced his concerns. "We've made enemies of the Council. Even if they acknowledge the truth, they'll bury it again to maintain control." "They can try," Rilth said, his tail flicking with defiance. "But the symposium audience saw everything. The truth is out there now." Viera sat by the window, staring at the gas giant below. "It's not just about what they saw. It's about what they felt. Humanity's story. It changes how we see ourselves." Talla, seated nearby, nodded. "I sensed it in the audience. Some were angry, but others, they were moved, inspired." As night fell over the Academy, the group realized they had started something bigger than themselves. The question was whether the galaxy was ready for it. The next morning, a message arrived. It was delivered via an old, nearly obsolete communication device, proof that its sender wished to avoid detection. The message contained only a set of coordinates and a single word: "Come." Despite their confinement, the group decided to follow the lead. Using Talla's telepathic abilities to avoid security, they slipped out of their quarters and made their way to the Academy's forgotten lower levels. The coordinates led them to a hidden chamber filled with ancient artifacts. Waiting for them was Elder Saphir, a retired council member whose presence radiated quiet wisdom. "You are braver than I was," Saphir said, their crystalline form glowing faintly. "I tried to speak for humanity centuries ago, but the Council silenced me. Now, the galaxy needs voices like yours." Saphir revealed a cache of additional records, including testimonies from species saved by humanity's actions. These records painted a picture of humanity as both flawed and extraordinary, a species that embraced imperfection to achieve greatness. "The Council is not infallible," Saphir said, "but they are powerful. If you wish to continue this fight, you must do so carefully." The group left the chamber with renewed determination and a sense that they were no longer alone. Word of the group's presentation at the symposium spread quickly. Across the galaxy, debates erupted. Some species called for a re-examination of humanity's legacy, arguing that the Council's actions had been unjust. Others doubled down on the narrative of humanity as a threat, fearing the destabilizing influence of their chaos. At the academy, the group found themselves both celebrated and vilified. Students and professors alike approached them with questions, accusations, and words of support. Kraxon, who had initially doubted their mission, began to see the cracks in the Council's authority. "They control history," he said one evening, "but history doesn't belong to them." As the group's influence grew, the Council took action. They released a public statement condemning the group's findings as reckless distortions. Simultaneously, they deployed agents to confiscate the group's research and silence their supporters. In a daring move, the group decided to leak their remaining data to sympathetic allies across the galaxy. Using encrypted communication networks, they sent out files containing humanity's true history. The response was overwhelming. Messages poured in from distant worlds. A healer from the Rhinari system thanked them for revealing the origins of the galactic plague cure. A historian from the Arcanis cluster offered to archive their findings in an independent repository. A former council aide confessed to hiding evidence of humanity's contributions and promised to testify. The council's narrative began to crumble, but the group knew the fight was far from over. The tipping point came when Elder Saphir, inspired by the group's bravery, took the stage at a second symposium. Their testimony was a bombshell, a first-hand account of humanity's final days, the Council's suppression of their legacy, and the fear that drove their decision. The Hall of Echoes was silent as Saphir concluded, "Humanity's chaos was not a weakness. It was a strength we failed to understand. And in silencing them, we lost something irreplaceable." The Council, faced with mounting evidence and public outcry, announced an independent review of humanity's history. It was a small victory, but a victory nonetheless. Back at the academy, the group reflected on their journey. They had risked everything to uncover the truth, and while the battle was far from over, they had sparked a movement that could not be undone. Viera smiled as she placed a final recording in the academy's archives. Humanity wasn't perfect, but neither are we. Their story reminds us that imperfection is not something to fear, it's something to embrace. As the camera panned out to show the academy floating above Zithara 4, the faint glow of Earth appeared in the distance, a reminder of a legacy rediscovered. In the years that followed, humanity's story became a symbol of resilience and hope. Across the galaxy, new generations of scholars, leaders, and dreamers looked to Earth's legacy as a guide, not for perfection, but for possibility. The group, now mentors and advocates, watched as the seeds they had planted began to grow. "Do you think they'd be proud?" Rilth asked one day. Viera nodded, her eyes shining. "I think they'd be glad we remembered."